Hi everyone, this is my Module 7 discussion video. I chose to answer 3 of the questions today because they all seem pretty interesting. The first question that I chose was, discuss the differences between leadership and management from the perspective of the authors. How does this discussion fit with and diverge from typical discourse on these issues as you've experienced in the workplace and or other classes? So according to the textbook, the main difference between leadership and management is this. Manager is a title which brings with it legitimate power. Leaders may be managers and they may have legitimate power, but neither is a requirement for leadership. This can be found on page 241 of the textbook. Each has different functions as well. So managerial functions include being in charge of and responsible for various goals and functions, as well as supervising employees of an organization. Leadership, on the other hand, the functions of leadership include influencing and guiding followers as opposed to subordinates, as well as being innovative and creating a vision for the future. The author's discussion in this textbook fits with the chapter on leadership in the Business Management 341 class, for those of you who are taking it this quarter or have taken it in the past. The author of that textbook defines the key difference between managers and leaders as leaders focus on vision, mission, goals, and objectives, whereas managers focus on productivity and efficiency. I think the authors of both textbooks have a firm and similar grasp on what leadership is to them and what makes it unique. So the second question that I chose was, what theories of leadership discussed in the text do you find most useful and why? Including the text as a resource, frame a workplace issue you've experienced using these theories. I believe that the contingency theory is the most useful theory of leadership discussed in the chapter. Contingency theory, which was introduced by Fred Fiedler, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, holds that there is no best way for managers to lead. The theory states that excellent leaders know how to assess a particular situation and adapt their leadership skills and choices to fit that situation. The full explanation of this theory is found on pages 244 through 246 in the textbook. One workplace issue that I've experienced using this theory is when I was trying to correct the mistake of a coworker. I didn't fully assess the situation and was more concerned with an accurate result rather than how I was making my coworker feel. In order to be a good leader, there has to be a balance between concern for people and concern for task, which also has to be balanced in a way that fits with the situation. In this case, I shouldn't have been so hard on my coworker for slacking off, but I also needed to be concerned that the work was getting done properly. Otherwise, that could potentially fall back on me. So the third question that I chose was, what is the most important or useful idea you read about in this chapter, and how might it help you better understand either a situation or incident that has occurred in your professional background? One useful idea that I read in this chapter is about paying attention to how you talk about the team you are leading or that you are a member of. Sometimes coworkers can get on our nerves and our employees can be difficult and we want to vent about it to another coworker. The textbook states that the gossip will almost always find its way to other people on the team, which can be found on page 251. This can be detrimental to the cohesiveness of a team and how well they get along. The first thing I thought of when I heard this was thinking back to high school and middle school, where you would gossip about somebody, like one of your friends or somebody that you didn't particularly like, and somehow that information would make it all around the school, and then everyone would be upset with you. I've had many instances where that happened, and I definitely learned my lesson. One example in a professional setting I have of this is when one of my coworkers was taking frequent breaks and not completing his work. I had talked to another coworker about it because we'd been friends before I was hired. Either she told someone else or someone overheard me, but the next week, half the office knew, and I never intended it for it to spread around the office, but it happened, and I had to deal with the consequences from that. So I definitely learned my lesson about not gossiping about people behind their back, because the consequences, it mostly looks bad for you, not for the person that you were gossiping about. And it really shows that you might not have good leadership skills. So that's it, and I hope you guys enjoyed.